The White Sox take on the Twins, 1:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch. The Chicago White Sox are minus 185, totals 9 flat. If you like Minnesota in an upset at home, they're plus a $1.60 for some money line cash. Now they're also minus 105, catching the 1.5 on the run line. Bailey Ober's starting for Minnesota. Lance Lynn for Chicago. And if you're watching this right now and you find yourself tuning into my YouTube channel most days or every single day, but you're not signed up to my Patreon website, I just have to let you know that we're coming off our 4th straight winning day on my Patreon page. Now, if you want to find out which one of these free YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, Patreon is where you can find that out. I have a bunch of different memberships and tiers, starting at just $1.99. And speaking of $1.99, I'm currently 4-0. My last $4.99 daily best plays on my Patreon site. Now, if you want to access today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. I'm also 4-1 in my last 5 extra daily picks on that Patreon page as well. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. Now, guys, I get it. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. There are times where we do lose games. I get that. But I'll tell you what, right now we are hotter than Tampa asphalt in the middle of August. We currently have over 775 members who are signed up and active on that Patreon site. Once again, if you're tuning into my videos every single day on YouTube, or if you're following me on Instagram and TikTok, pretty much speaking to you right now. If you're not signed up to my Patreon website, you're not fully tapped into the complete Brock Page experience. Simply put, I really think you're just really missing out. So once again, if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, link for that page is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, when it comes to this ball game here, Lance Lynn's 10-3 thus far in the season, 2.04 ERA and a 1.05 WHIP. Now, the righties struck out 130 batters. The first place White Sox are leading the league in striking batters out on the road. They're holding their opponents to just 7.2 hits a game. They're taking on a last place Minnesota club who has a losing record at home. And they also rank in the bottom 3 in runs allowed per contest. Now, Bailey Ober, he's got just 1 win on the whole season. And he also has a 4.99 ERA. Now, the righty's also got himself a 1.30 WHIP. And when it comes to the total on this one, Minnesota went 70% to the over in their last 10 outings, 39-16 to the over in their divisional contests. Meanwhile, the White Sox saw 3 out of their last 5 road games get over the line. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago White Sox minus 185 and the over 9 runs. I apologize real quick, kind of talking funny. I have a really dry mouth because I had like a handful of salt and vinegar chips yesterday and my mouth is still super dry. I can't get it out. But anyway, next game, Yankees, Royals, 2:10 p.m. East. Yankees are minus 120, numbers 9.5. Davy Garcia possible for New York. Brady Singer for Kansas City. Singer's just 3-7 with a 5.13 ERA and a 1.55 WHIP. Royals are 14 games below 500, and they're last in the majors in walks at the plate. They're taking on a Yankee club who won 7 out of their last 10. They're led by Aaron Judge, who's hit 23 homers and also ranks in the top 30 in OPS. The Yankees have a winning road record, and they lead the majors in walks at the plate. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, New York went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings, 33-23 to the under in all of their road games. Meanwhile, the Royals saw 6 out of their last 10 stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the New York Yankees minus 120 in the under 9.5. Next ball game, Rockies, Astros, 2:10 East. The Houston Astros are minus 240, totals 9 flat. Framber Valdez for Houston, Antonio Sensatella for Colorado. Now, Sensatella is just 2-8 on the year, 4.73 ERA, and a 1.41 WHIP. The Rockies have the fewest road wins in the majors, and they score only 3.1 runs a game when they bat first. They're taking on a first-place Houston club who leads the majors in runs and hits. Michael Brantley's he's batting a league-leading 329 at the plate. Yordan Alvarez is 10th with 74 RBI. Houston also has Framber Valdez on the bump, who's 7-3 with a 3.22 ERA. Now, total-wise, Houston went 4-1 to the under in their last 5 home games. Colorado's 11-5 to the under in their interleague games themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Houston Astros -1.5 and the under 9 runs. Cottonmouth got no spit. I'm just dry. Salt and vinegar chips, man. They got me. Next game, Marlins Padres 410 East. Pods are 160. Totals 8.5. Weathers for San Diego. Alcantara for Miami. And despite some fairly good numbers out of Alcantara, he still comes into today's contest with a 6-10 record. The last place Marlins are 20 games under 500, and they score only 3.9 runs a game when they travel. They're taking on a Padres club who wins over 63% of their home games, and they rank in the top 10 in scoring. Manny Machado's hit 21 home runs and knocked in 78. He's currently 6th in the league in RBI. Jake Cronenworth has also hit 16 homers and knocked in 54. When it comes to the total on this one, San Diego went 9-1 to the over in their last 10 outings. Miami saw their last 5 straight on the road get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Diego Padres -160 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, Cardinals Pirates 7:05 Eastern first pitch. St. Louis Cardinals are -170, totals 9. Adam Wainwright for St. Louis, Will Crow for Pittsburgh. Now Crow's just 3-6 with a 5.47 ERA and a 1.56 WHIP. The last place Pirates are 31 games under 500, and they score fewer runs per contest than any other team in the Bigs. They're taking on a Cardinals club who won 3 out of their last 4, and they also win 60% of their ball games when favored. The St. Louis pitching staff also holds their opponents to under 7.6 hits per contest. Adam Wainwright's 10-6 on the year with a 3.48 ERA and a 1.12 WHIP. The righties also struck out 130 batters. Now, total-wise, St. Louis is 11-7 to the over in their divisional road games. Pittsburgh went 60% to the over in their divisional contest at PNC Park. I'm going to lean toward the St. Louis Cardinals -170 and the over 9. Next game, Dodgers Phillies 7:05 Eastern Standard Time. LA's -135, totals 10. David Price for Los Angeles, Kyle Gibson for Philly. Now, Gibson's 2-0 with his new team, 2.13 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. Despite a tough loss last night, the Phillies have still won 8 out of their last 9 ball games. Phillies winning 61% of their ball games at Citizens Bank Park. They're striking out over 9.9 batters a game there. And speaking of strikeouts, this Dodger lineup is in the bottom half of the league in strikeouts at the plate. The Dodgers are also cashing in on the run line in just 47% of their road games. David Price comes into today's start with a 1.37 WHIP. When it comes to the total on this one, 7 out of Los Angeles' last 10 meetings with Philly stayed under the line. The Phillies saw their last 4 straight home games stay under the number as well. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia Phillies +1.5 and the under 10 runs. Next matchup, Tigers Orioles 7:05 Eastern start. The Detroit Tigers are -115, totals 10. Tarek Skubal for Detroit, Matt Harvey for Baltimore. Now Harvey's just 6-10 on the year, 6.13 ERA, and a 1.53 WHIP. The last place O's have the fewest wins in the American League. They also give up more runs than any other team in the majors. They're taking on a Detroit club who won 5 out of their last 8. And they rank in the top half of the league in road scoring. Jonathan Scopes in the top 25 in the majors in batting average. Detroit also has Tarek Skubal on the bump here today. He's got 7 wins on the year, along with 121 strikeouts. Now, when it comes to the number, Detroit's 34-24 to the over as the home team. Baltimore seen over 63% of their contests at Camden Yards get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers minus a $1.15 and the over 10 runs. Maryland Live Casino, very nice casino in the Baltimore area, by the way. Great poker room. All right, next matchup, Rays, Bo Sox, 7:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch. Boston's minus 120, totals 9.5. Eovaldi for Boston, Fleming for Tampa. Now Fleming's 9-5. And the first place Rays are 5 games ahead of Boston in the standings. They're also in the top 3 in road scoring. Austin Meadows is 8th in the league with 77 RBI. The Rays are taking on a Boston team who lost 8 out of their last 10. And they also rank in the bottom 3 in hits allowed per game at home. Nathan Eovaldi's lost 7 games this year along with a 4.07 ERA. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Tampa went 70% to the over in their last 10 outings, 4-0 to the over in their last 4 on the road. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have seen 8 out of their last 10 meetings with Tampa get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Tampa Bay Rays plus $1 and the over 9.5. Next game, Nationals, Mets, 7:10 Flushing, Queens. This game's currently off the board. Marcus Stroman for New York, no confirmed starter yet for Washington. But regardless of who throws out the first pitch, the Nationals have a better record against divisional opponents than the Mets do. This Washington lineup is also in the top 3 in the league in road hits. Josh Bell's hit 19 homers and knocked in 60. Meanwhile, the Mets on the other side of things, they're on a 4-game losing streak, and they also dropped 8 out of their last 10. New York's cashed in on the run line in just 38% of their divisional contests. Meanwhile, their lineup's averaging only 3.4 runs a game at Citi Field. Despite some really good numbers out of Marcus Stroman this season, the righty comes into this contest with a dismal 7-11 record. I'm going to lean toward the Washington Nationals plus 1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. Next ball game, A's Indians 7:10 East. The Oakland A's are minus 150, totals 9. Frankie Montas for Oakland, Cal Quantrill for Cleveland. Now the Indians lost 6 out of their last 10 ball games. Their lineup's being held to only 7.6 hits a game. They're taking on a red-hot Oakland club who won their last 5 straight. And they also got the W in 8 out of their last 10. Oakland allows just 3.6 runs a game when they travel. They're also walking less than 2.7 batters a game as well. Frankie Montas has 9 wins on the year along with 140 strikeouts. And total-wise, Oakland's seen over 61% of their road games fall short of the total. Meanwhile, the Indians went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Oakland A's minus 150 and the under 9. Next matchup, Reds, Braves, 7:20 Eastern start time. The Atlanta Braves are minus 120, totals 10. Touki Toussaint for Atlanta, Wade Miley for Cincinnati. Miley's 9-4 with a 2.75 ERA. Now the lefty struck out 93 batters and has a 1.22 whip. Cincinnati's won 6 out of their last 9, and they also have a winning record on the road. The Cincinnati pitching staff averages nearly double-digit strikeouts a game. They're taking on an Atlanta club who strikes out nearly 10 times a game at the plate themselves. Meanwhile, pitching-wise, Touki Toussaint comes into this game with a 1-2 record and a 4.43 ERA. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, the Braves saw 4 out of their last 7 home games stay under the line. Meanwhile, the Reds went 3-1 to the under in their last 4 when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Cincinnati Reds plus $1 and the under 10 runs. Next matchup, it is going to be Brewers, Cubs, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Milwaukee's minus 260, numbers 10. Corbin Burns for the Brewers, Jake Arrieta for the Cubs. Arrieta's just 5-10 with a 6.34 ERA and a 1.69 whip. Might be time to hang it up. The Cubs are on a 6-game losing streak, and they also dropped 8 out of their last 9. The Chicago lineup is averaging nearly double-digit strikeouts a game at the plate. They're also being held to just 7.3 hits a game. They're taking on a Brewers club who won 6 out of their last 9. And they also win over 65% of their road games. This Milwaukee pitching staff gives up the fewest road hits per contest in the league. They're also averaging double-digit strikeouts a game. Corbin Burns has struck out 157 batters and has a 2.39 ERA. The righty's also got himself a .96 whip. And when it comes to the total in this one, Milwaukee went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 ball games, 3-1 to the under in their last 4 on the road. I'm going to lean toward the Milwaukee Brewers -1.5 and the under 10. Next matchup, Blue Jays, Angels, 9:38 East. The Toronto Blue Jays are -185, totals 9.5. Alek Manoah for Toronto, Dylan Bundy for Los Angeles. And as bad as Bundy's been, the lefty still averages about a strikeout an inning. The Angels have also won 5 out of their last 8, and they're in the top 5 in hits. Shohei Ohtani's leading the majors in homers. He slammed 37 home runs and knocked in 82. The slugger's also third in the league with a 1.009 OPS. They're taking on a Toronto club who plays just 500 baseball on the road against American League opponents. And as much as they score, this Blue Jays lineup is in the bottom 5 in road walks at the plate. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Los Angeles, they've seen 65% of their home games get over the line. The Angels are officially 63-51 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the LA Angels +1.5 and the over 9.5 runs. Next matchup, Diamondbacks, Giants, 9:45 Eastern Standard Time. The San Francisco Giants are -270, totals 8. Kevin Gausman for San Francisco, Merrill Kelly for Arizona. Now, Kelly's lost 8 games and has a 4.13 ERA. The last place D-backs still have the worst record in baseball, and they allow more runs on the road than any other team in the league. They're taking on a first-place Giants club who's winning over 65% of their divisional games. The Giants pitching staff leads the majors in fewest walks per 9. They're giving up just 3.7 runs per contest. Kevin Gausman's 10-5 on the season, 2.31 ERA, and a .94 whip. The righties also struck out 157 batters in just over 132 innings. Now, total-wise, 2 out of San Francisco's last 3 home games got over the number. Arizona's 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants -1.5 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Rangers versus the Mariners, 10:10 p.m. Eastern start time. The Seattle Mariners are -195, totals 8. Tyler Anderson for Seattle, Spencer Howard for Texas. Now, Howard's got a 6.16 ERA and a 1.53 whip. The last place Rangers have the fewest road wins in the American League, and they currently find themselves 33 games below 500. Texas also scores just 3.7 runs a game. They're taking on a Mariners club who's 33-24 straight up at home. This Mariners pitching staff is in the top 10 in fewest home walks allowed. Tyler Anderson's fanned 93 batters and has a 1.21 whip. And total-wise, Seattle's 26-21 to the over in their divisional games. Texas is 17-11 to the over against the AL West on the road. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners -1.5 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website, where we're currently going for our 5th straight winning day of premium sports picks on that website. I like Chicago White Sox -185 over 9. New York Yankees -120 under 9.5. Houston -1.5 under 9. San Diego -160 over 8.5. St. Louis -170 over 9 runs. Philadelphia +1.5 under 10. Detroit Tigers -115 over 10 runs. Tampa Bay +$1 over 9.5. Washington +1.5 getting the job done for some run line cash. Oakland A's minus 150, under 9. Cincinnati plus $1, under 10 runs. Milwaukee minus 1.5, under 10. LA Angels plus 1.5, over 9.5 runs. San Francisco minus 1.5, over 8. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 4-0 in our last 4 $1.99 daily best plays on my Patreon website. We're also 4-1 in our last 5 extra daily picks on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners minus 1.5 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that goes to Calico Jones, who said yesterday, Detroit Tigers. Mize is a really good pitcher. And Calico, I agree with you there. He's got, a 3.66 ERA. He's got 6 wins on the year with a Detroit team that really hadn't won a lot of games earlier in the season, but they are starting to put a few games together here. But I agree, Mize, definitely a good pitcher. He's got some good stuff this year. So Calico Jones, thanks for sharing. Always good to see you in the comment section below. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my Patreon website, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of August. I always tell folks the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.